Hi, I'm Christopher
Hi,
Sapp.
everybody. This is Bob
Hey guys,
Bergen.
this is Stephanie Shea.
Hey, I'm Veronica Taylor.
Hey, everybody. This is Billy
Hey
West.
guys, I'm Ryan Colt Levy.
Hi, this is Kyle
Hi,
Aber.
this is Kira Bucket.
Hi, I'm Jameson Price.
Hi, I'm Sean Chiplock.
You are listening to Two Dads.
You're listening to
Two Dads.
Two dads.
Two dads.
Two dads.
Two dads.
Two dads.
Two dads
And a podcast.
A couple of dads on a podcast.
Yes, I feel powerful.
What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
It's
Hey,
us
buddy.
again. Hi. How you
So
doing?
we have we have our subject topic for the night,
Yes,
and as
we do.
promised.
Yeah, we
are
did
covering-
say that we were going to do some crossovers, and here we are, starting with video game crossovers.
Yeah, now this one, like looking into it, we're getting dangerously close to a new crossover game coming out, which is WB's Multiverses.
Yeah, essentially WB's version of Smash Brothers. Now that Smash Brothers is they're done. He's done making Smash Brothers right now.
Yeah, so and there's a lot of really cool characters they have included in this. You know, I've seen Steven Universe, a few of the Scooby Doo, Batman.
We've got Shaggy,
Looney Tunes. Yeah,
the Iron
a couple
Giant
of the
is in there
Adventure
too.
Time dudes. So it looks to be interesting. As long as we'll see, free to play.
We'll see
now.
how cash grabby it is.
Yeah,
That's
the
my
only thing I'm
biggest
waiting.
concern. Yeah.
Because it's slowed down a lot of other games that otherwise looked promising to begin with, and I think the cash grab aspect really took focus away from the game itself, and there was a lot of problems and crashes upon release of others in the past couple of years. So I'm interested, but I'm reserved, like you.
Yep.
So my first,
you're jumping right in. I was just going to inform our listeners that we did kind of have a little bit of set rules here.
Oh yeah, we did. Jumping into it, we had to, because it was a broad sort of.
It's very broad.
List.
My rule that I kind of threw in there is the game couldn't be a mobile game. Because there are so many gimmicky
That's
and
still
cash
not
grab mobile games.
That's still not my. I don't subscribe to that. If it was good, if it was good enough, and there's one that is good enough.
Okay, maybe one, but there's a lot of mobile game crossovers, and it's so funny because there's a couple that did crossovers with certain games, and then they fail like 3 months later.
Well, I'll talk about one later on because I don't know if but it won't have anything to do with my list. My sort of rule for myself was if the DLC was just like one or two characters, or if I had to continue paying money to keep getting new characters, that they could have maybe worked in or just given for free on DLC. Something that didn't expand the game at all. I'm kind of like,
sure.
Really?
The ones that I picked, we'll get into it, but there's some DLC, but it was like added to the game for free.
Yeah. So with my number 5, getting right into it, this is pure nostalgia. Pure just because I bought the games because I loved playing them. I still love playing them, and I can't figure out why. I don't really know. And I chose specifically Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 because of the characters.
Oh yeah,
you had Darth Maul, Doom Guy from Doom, and Wolverine.
See, but that one had some really fun unlockable characters in there. It was you don't expect to see Doom Guy and Wolverine skateboarding.
But like it all started obviously with Spider-Man, which had the coolest, and they tried to work in, and number 4 was really cool because you could get Boba Fett and use his backpack.
There was some really cool,
sweet.
But 3 was definitely the better for the crossover elements.
Obviously, I think it's not a mystery to anybody. My favorite all-time Tony Hawk game was Underground. But it was more about you and your character than the unlockables that came along with it. I know Underground 2, you could get Steve-O riding a mechanical bull as an unlockable, which was fun.
Which is fun. That's cool.
American Wasteland, they had some unlockable characters, but mostly nothing like prominent or licensed.
No, it was
one.
Either unlockable pro skaters or stuff like that, where they're actual people or fictional created for the game.
I think bad guy was the guy with the bag over his head was unlockable in that one maybe. But yeah,
I like that. Those games were a lot of fun. A lot of fun
for sure,
and especially
easy to waste time.
In Tony Hawk Pro Skaters 2, when you unlock Spider-Man for the first time, it's like, wait a second, there's Spider-Man. It was mind-blowing. It was great.
So what did you pick for your 5?
My number 5, as many people know, I am a huge racing game fan. Of course, mostly the kart racers. I love Mario Kart. But one of the other series that I really, really enjoyed was Sonic and All-Stars Racing. And I specifically chose Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed because they took the crossover to a whole new level, especially with the PC version of the game.
Yeah, these games were really cool. The only thing I didn't understand is why you put Sonic in a car.
To make it fair for everybody else.
I mean,
that's ultimately the reason. To make it fair for everybody else.
Run.
So this one
were pretty cool.
Yeah, it had a ton of crossovers from Sonic games. You had Super Monkey Ball. You had Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi.
Love that game. Yeah,
you had a bunch of different Sega games in there. But one of the things, some of the DLC, again, they added mostly for free, added a ton of other characters in there too, expanding on some of the Sega and non-Sega. They were on other stuff. So you had Gilius Thunderhead from Golden Axe. You had Vice from Skies of Arcadia. You had Knights from Knights. But they also added in, General Winter from Company of Heroes 2 and the Shogun from Total War Shogun. But honestly, what really sealed the deal with this one being on my list was they added Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
And
I liked that one.
For the PC, they added Team Fortress characters exclusive to the PC, which was freaking awesome. And they also brought Danica Patrick, who is an actual real life, NASCAR racer, into the game. So they crossed over real life into it. They crossed over movie. Well, yeah, at the time. I said was. I was.
For a few months. Yeah.
But it was just really cool seeing these characters, especially, somebody like Wreck-It Ralph and the Team Fortress characters. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, I might have put Vanellope, but, Wreck-It Ralph is the...
Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the movie. That's the name of the movie.
Yeah, that was a cool, really cool one. Sega does pretty good with including characters and bringing in characters. The games, the mechanics of the games and stuff aren't always the best because it's Sega.
Yeah,
but they're great at making fun.
Isn't as good as like Mario Kart, but it's still enjoyable.
Yeah, they're great at making fun things, like fun situations and shit. So that's moving to my number 4. I went with PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale.
Fun game. Great concept for it, but I didn't feel like the execution was as good.
That's why it's so low on my list. Because it really was such a cool concept to a game. And they brought in all these awesome characters like Big Daddy from BioShock. And, you had some Tekken, you had some Devil May Cry with Dante, Metal Gear. You had Raiden, you had, Nathan Drake.
Yeah, they really brought in a lot of
Sackboy
Sackboy, I believe, was in there.
And then they did some downloadable content. It's just, it was unfortunate how kind of bad the controls,
the actual
the
gameplay was.
Yeah,
that's the biggest issue with some of the crossover games. It's really cool. It's a really cool concept, but the execution, not so much.
Yeah, but I think they could, and Sony's kind of bad about that sometimes too. But I think they could make another one soon and update it and make it killer.
Well, if they wanted to, especially because Smash Brothers isn't a thing now, so they're not competing with the number one game in this kind of genre.
It's Sony. Think about what Sony has now and what they own now.
Especially what they have now.
Miles Morales and shit like that. Whatever unfortunate thing Jared Leto is right now.
you could bring in The Last of Us, which was just announced very recently that it's getting a remake for the PlayStation 5. Like they have so many original IP, and then they have a lot of exclusives that aren't created by Sony. I could see another one coming out. That would be a lot of fun.
I'd be a fan. I'd get it for sure. Go ahead, Sony, do it.
Yeah, I know you're listening.
You could bring whatever unfortunate characters from that movie Aloha into the fold.
Well, we're going to move on to my number 4 then, and we've talked about this game. We've talked about the series kind of in depth, and it's Marvel vs. Capcom. And I'm specifically choosing 2 because that's the one we played the most of. And it had the best roster. It truly had the best roster in my opinion. Looking back,
like there are characters I would pluck out of some of the other games, but as a whole, it was so cool.
Definitely.
Omega Red, like you couldn't.
Yeah. We don't have to go in depth on this one because we talked about it in length before. Go back and listen to that podcast. The games are so much fun, and being able to play, as my boy Gambit, or you playing as Captain America and Spider-Man, and they had, Iceman and some characters that you wouldn't even think of, like
I said, you got War Machine instead of the obvious, Iron Man. They put in War Machine instead, like stuff like that.
Thanos before he was super mainstream. That's awesome. So. Yeah, real simple for my number 4. It's just a fantastic game. The gameplay was so much fun. It's a fantastic crossover game.
Yeah, warning, this middle section is going to get a bit redundant.
It definitely is.
My number 3, I went with not my favorite Smash Bros. Game, but the best crossover game they made, which was Ultimate. I mean, it just was. Smash Brothers Ultimate had all the characters you ever wanted, and they really did. If I almost said if, but this was their going away party for
it really was
how many years, and they did it so right with
they
all
crushed
the inclusions.
It for sure.
And the not so obvious choices that they made some of the times, and you got Duck Hunts and you got the ice
Ice Climbers.
Sorry. Yeah, you got the Ice Climbers, the Game & Watch, the Dr. Marios, and you got in Sonic and Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, they brought in a lot of characters that were their own IPs and from Nintendo, but they also branched out quite a bit too, which was really, really cool. And
one of your favorite
we talked
Pokemon's Greninja with his tongue scarf.
Yes. Creepy tongue scarf. Look, anytime there's like fleshy bits that they wear that look like clothing, I don't know. It's just weird.
Awkward.
Yeah. But fantastic. And like he said, we're going to get a bit redundant on some of this, and you can go back and listen to us talk about it more in depth on some of the previous episodes.
Yeah, this episode's only going to be 5 minutes long.
Well, spoiler, we're already at about 15 minutes.
So what did you choose for your, what are we on now? 3 still?
Number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 3 is one that I don't know. I don't think you've played this game. And as far as I'm aware, I played it on PC. I don't know that it's actually on anything else because of the game itself and the characters that are in the game.
Yeah.
But it's Poker Night at the Inventory.
I know this game. I have not played it. I don't play a lot of poker games. but I know the game.
Man, it's kind of ridiculous. It was made by Telltale. So
It's
the
weird.
ones that did all the fantastic, story-based games, they created a poker night game, and you play Texas Hold'em. And originally they had the Telltale Texas Hold'em that was released in 2010. Or no. Poker Night at the Inventory was released in 2010, and they had a game before that, the Telltale Texas Hold'em. So it was kind of the spiritual forerunner to these games. But I loved the humor and just how ridiculous this game got. You had characters like Steve from Borderlands, Moxie from Borderlands. You had GLaDOS from Portal, and you had Claptrap. You had Ash Williams from The Evil Dead, and Brock Samson from Venture Brothers.
Right.
Just and Strong Bad from Homestar Runner. And it was just so ridiculous. Yeah. You had Max and Sam, depending on, they were in both, but Max had more random cameos than Sam did. He actually played against
Sam
you.
And Max.
Yeah. I love this game. The humor in it was amazing.
Yeah. And then they had the sequel with Poker Night 2.
Yeah, they brought in a few more for Poker Night 2. Some of the characters I mentioned were only in Poker Night 2. Some of them are only in Poker Night 1, like Strong Bad is only in the first one. The Borderlands characters are only in the second. But the humor, and honestly, in the second game, GLaDOS being the dealer was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Getting her just insulting humor in there was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And Telltale is like the only company that can get away with something like this, because almost anybody will hand over their characters to Telltale because of just how good of a job they do with everything they do.
Honestly, if I'm not mistaken, this was before a lot of their major games started coming out. Poker Night 2 came out in 2013. And bringing in characters from Borderlands, Portal 2, and Venture Brothers even, completely off the wall. You don't expect any of these guys to be in a game together.
I mean,
I loved it.
With where they can go, because they've done everything now. Obviously The Walking Dead was the big...
That was their big one that kind of got them going. But they also
they've done Batman. They've done Wallace and Gromit. Like they could easily do a Poker Night 3. That would be.
I wish they would. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's been 9 years since the second one came out. I would love to see another one. I would love to see another one.
Yeah. So, what up to my number 2?
Your number 2.
My 2 is again probably not the best Kingdom Hearts game, but for me, it gave me the most nostalgia, and that was Kingdom Hearts 3. Was, in my opinion, as far as the crossovers, they brought the best ones into that one.
For the Disney characters, for sure.
The game wasn't as good in some ways. You had so much cool shit from Baymax and I even the
Tangled
level was
Big
good.
Hero 6.
Yeah.
And Frozen, bringing in some of the more popular, more recent stuff.
Yeah, and I don't like really Frozen, cool. But the Frozen level wasn't bad. The Ratatouille mini game was pretty cool. The Toy Story one was really gave me
that one was
a major nostalgia hit.
Amazing. Graphically too, it was doors, fantastic.
Going through the doors for what was it? Monsters Inc.
Mm-hmm.
was super cool. This one knocked it out of the park, and when number 4 comes out, they have so much shit they can do right now.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And I feel like based off the very little tease that we've gotten, we're going to see a little more Final Fantasy and some more original characters. We may not see as much Disney, and I'm okay with that because 3 barely had any Final Fantasy.
Well, here's the thing:
it even only had Final Fantasy in the DLC for it.
They kept the door closed on, like they finally got to open up with their Pixar shit. You know, Pixar had been around so long, but they had this sort of
look in 4. Disney's not going away. Disney is not going away. Yeah. It's definitely going to be in there, but I want to see more of the Final Fantasy characters thrown in there.
I'm cool with the characters being thrown in there. I'm cool with the story working its way in, but we can keep working it into these worlds also.
Oh, that absolutely. That's what I want.
You've got so much now. X-Men's, the Star Wars.
I don't know that we will see that kind of stuff in there, but we can cross our fingers. That would be really cool.
But it was they pull the levels off very well. Outside of Little Mermaid.
I'm excited for 4. Wait, there wasn't a Little Mermaid level. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not in Yeah.
4 I'm excited for sure, but for now, we're on to my number 2, and we've talked about it already. It's Smash Ultimate. We're rehashing a lot of this.
It's a great game.
It honestly is probably the best crossover game. It's not my number 1 because there's other games that I enjoy.
The only shock is that it's neither of our number 1s.
Yeah, that actually is kind of surprising. I was expecting it to be yours. They did it fantastic, especially with the DLC. I mean, bringing in Tekken and Kingdom Hearts and Minecraft and King of Fighters and Banjo-Kazooie. Like,
how
did he get away with bringing this shit in there? Of course, Final Fantasy, they've got this working relationship with Final Fantasy. So they had Cloud before on one of the previous games. Yeah. So bringing in Sephiroth, not a huge deal. But now we've got Castlevania and Persona. Bringing in Persona 5 with Joker. And, oh my God, it's so good.
Some of what they pulled off is amazing. And that's what I love about them.
It is kind of peak crossover when it comes to that. I do enjoy that most of the characters are Nintendo characters. I like that. But having these little bits and some of these extra DLCs to just kind of...
And there are crossovers.
Put the icing on the cake.
There are crossovers that sound fantastic and people do it just to do it, but it just ends up really bad. Like when DC and Mortal Kombat crossed.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat versus DC fighters. Like
that sounds amazing. But
they toned it down.
Finishers?
No finishers. They toned down the violence. There was no blood.
That's because they probably couldn't get the rights from DC to show their characters in that light.
Yeah, they didn't want, and then they came out with Injustice later.
Right, at the time. And then it's like, well, why even bother?
And Injustice 2, because I'm pretty positive that's not on either of our lists. Injustice 2 threw in Mortal Kombat characters later on, which was kind of fun, you know. But the execution of some games, concept is great, execution is very poor. But Smash Brothers doesn't have that problem.
We can get it. I'm still waiting for a great shonen game crossover, to fucking happen finally.
We've had some teases. Give us a good one.
My number 1 brings all, it holds no punches. It was first released in 93 or some shit. And it's still being maintained even today through mostly Android app on cell phones right now. But it is NBA Jam.
I don't know if I still have my Super Nintendo copy of that, dude.
Such a simple game, but it was so fucking fun, and it's still fun. And back on the systems, the NBA Jam tournament, Ultimate Tournament, or what was it called? Tournament Edition or whatever. Tournament Edition came out in 94. Had some of the for that it was the best. You had Warren Moon, you could get Al Gore and Bill Clinton.
Man, having the presidents and then putting in the big head cheat was
the big head,
best.
And you can still do that, and even today, people are still carrying it on. And you could get like Barack Obama and Joe Biden. You had Donald Trump. You had
it's ridiculous.
George W. Bush and the Beastie Boys.
like
it was.
How did they get these people to agree to put them in a freaking NBA game?
Well, back in the 90s, that's how that was part of the campaign. You didn't have social media, you know. But you could get, Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff. Back then, I mean, they have so many, and they're still carrying the torch for that stuff. And it was just such an addicting game, and it still is. I don't think I can get it on the on my iPhone, but might be a reason to switch to.
I think there still is an NBA Jam on the App Store
for iPhone.
For iOS? iPhone, it's $5.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna have to get that too.
I mean, it doesn't have the greatest ratings, but I don't expect an NBA Jam on your phone to have great ratings.
Why? That's just haters being haters, man. What the hell? But I loved it. I love that game.
That's good.
It's still fun.
I really appreciate that because I was not expecting NBA Jam to be on your.
When I think of crossovers, that's the first game that popped in my head. I'm like, fucking Bill Clinton versus George W. Bush. I remember this. I played this. It was fun as hell.
I played it too, man. We had the Super Nintendo.
Like you said, Big Head Cheat made everything even better.
It really did. It made everything so much better.
That was, my jam.
He's on fire. Look, and the fact that some of the characters, they even threw in like Ed Boon from the Mortal Kombat series. Like, what other games do you get stuff like that?
They threw in like Cao Cao and a few others, but they based the characters off of their designers and then just put costumes over them, and then they had just cheats to unlock some of their designers too. It was ridiculous.
Yes.
So what'd you pick as your number one?
My number one, well, it's a series I haven't named yet, and it had to be on my list.
Okay.
It's Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Specifically, I picked Kingdom Hearts 2 because I feel like the crossover element was just a little more so in this. It was
more woven together.
Yes, you had the Final Fantasy characters. You had this interwoven story with Cloud and Sephiroth.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you had your major three. You had
and the Hercules tournament was endless fun.
Yes, that was being able to super fun.
Sephiroth.
Well, that was the first one. That was Kingdom Hearts 1. Sephiroth was, you had to find him. It was a completely optional fight. You had to find him in the mountains. But, having the restoration committee with Leon and Aerith and Sid, along with Yuffie. So you have this integration of these characters on top of some of the best at the time, of course, Disney characters. Jack Skellington, and you had your Aladdin. You had, Winnie the Pooh. In this one, they actually followed the little bit of a story with Winnie the Pooh. How many games are you going to get that has Winnie the Pooh and Sephiroth in the same game?
You had this was the one with the Beast and Belle and
yeah. Well, I was just saying, like, I know Winnie the Pooh was in 3, but they followed the story of like the mini adventures of Winnie the Pooh and some of his other stuff in Kingdom Hearts 2 better. Kingdom Hearts 3, it was like playing a mobile game. It wasn't it was kind of it was fun, but there was no story to it, which was really disappointing.
So you had Beauty and the Beast in this one.
Yeah, you had a lot.
You had the only thing with 2, the reason why I liked 3 a little bit better is because 2 kind of bogged you down a little bit with like Traverse Town and
but those were the original worlds, and they brought more original worlds into 3 as well. They brought some more of that in there, and I liked that. I liked the element of having original worlds with Final Fantasy, with Disney, all mixed in together. And it was great. So you had some really iconic worlds in here. Of course, at the time, there weren't as many there weren't as many big Disney Animation Studios stuff like, Frozen and Tangled. So a little bit different on that. But I do agree. Those worlds were great. Absolutely loved them.
Yeah, that was
I just feel like the interwoven crossover elements in Kingdom Hearts 2 was a little stronger.
That's the craziness of these games is by the time they come out, you've got 3 or 4 Disney movies where you're like, why didn't you include those? But you're like, oh yeah, they've been working on this game for 4 or 5 fucking years, and the movies hadn't even been out yet.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I honestly think having Tron.
Look, yes,
the old school Timeless River.
Look, see, here's the thing.
Mulan.
Kingdom Hearts 2 was almost a perfect game. Almost. And you know why it wasn't.
Why wasn't it? Inform me.
The Little Fucking Mermaid.
I don't remember that level.
If it wasn't for that, yeah, that would have. No, I like Port Royal a bit.
Yeah, having bringing in some live action stuff into it. They were testing something new. They were trying to bring this in, and honestly, I enjoyed the world. Was it the greatest of all of them? No, but I did enjoy because Pirates was huge.
But what they did with it with Kingdom Hearts 3 was pretty fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, they knocked it out of the park with that one, and that's the thing. This game introduced that world, and they just took it to the next level in Kingdom Hearts 3. I like I said, I feel
you've got Lions King too.
Yeah, I wasn't naming all of them.
Because that's where you did all your hardcore grinding and leveling.
For a while.
Rock. Yeah.
Until you got to the Yin Sid's tower.
Right.
And then you could just kind of grind that out pretty good. But such a fantastic game. Fantastic crossover elements. Like I said, I loved how there was more Final Fantasy with the Disney. That's why it's my number 1 instead of 3.
Yeah, well, you know what? I like the Disney.
This one had, surprise, this game had Disney too. Spoilers. There were so many crossover games, so many more than I was expecting as I was getting through, because, there are the obvious ones, which we had a few on our lists.
Yeah.
But then there were some other ones that I forgot about. Like one that I just narrowly cut off my list was Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Sharp FE. Yes, the name is that long.
Tokyo Mirage. It's hard to say. Mortal Kombat's always just done a great job. Also blending in.
Yep, Mortal Kombat's done really good. A lot of fighting games. Soul Calibur. And some of theirs, they had Star Wars characters. They had Geralt from The Witcher in was it, Soul Calibur 4 or 6? 4? 6, yeah. Soul Calibur 6.
4 was the Star Wars.
Yes, I was mixing up the two in my head. But there were just so many of these crossover games, and as we say every week, we want to know what your favorite crossover game is. I would love to play another one that's really good. So let us know. You can reach out to us at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all at 2dap2020. Email 2dap2020@gmail.com. And as always,
next time on Two Dads and a Podcast.
Next time, I might shave my beard beforehand.
Oh, little treat for the YouTube viewers.
Yeah. This topic for next time. Yes, we will have one.
It will likely be a top 5
for towers. Lord of the Rings has some good ones. Star Wars has some good ones.
There are some really good towers out there. There are some really good towers.
There are nice, and I like a nice tower.
Just like I like a nice box.
Where are we at in the year? We're getting close.
We're halfway through the year. We're almost halfway through the year.
Christ. By the time this comes out, we'll be almost in July.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Okay. You know what?
It's happening.
I think maybe next week we do some sidekicks.
Ooh, sidekicks would be fun.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to determine.
We'll have to narrow it down a little bit more.
Fandom we're doing.
Yeah.
But sidekick sounds fun.
Tell you what, my number one sidekick's you, bud. That's it.
Oh.
I'm a number one.
Excuse me, we're partners?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. I thought you were gonna say I was your number one sidekick.
No, we're partners. You're on equal level as me. Because I heart you. As always, guys, thanks so much for listening and watching.
Yes.
I'll steal a line from Kyle Hebert. And
like
watching.
and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Love you guys.